Hi there, folks. Thanks for joining me this morning on That's My Farm. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, and today we're going to be outside of Great Bend, Kansas at Circle K Farms. We're going to meet with Scott Temple, and we're going to talk about things about how you background cattle and prepare them for the next phase, which is the feedlot. Sure glad you joined us, and stay tuned for the show.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Folks, welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. Today we're outside of Great Bend, Kansas here at Circle K Farms, and we're with Scott Temple. And Scott, thanks for joining us today.
You bet.
Thanks for wind's blown a little.
Yeah, a lot.
But, well, folks, we've, on That's My Farm, have highlighted different farms, ranches, feedlots, and different things around the state of Kansas. And today we're going to talk about a segment of the beef industry, a grow yard, or starting cattle, and you know, whether it's wheat pasture or in a grow yard, there's a stalker backgrounder segment between that cow-calf man and the feedlot. And you've been on both sides of that now. Yep. And starting these calves, and so talk to me a little bit about your operation here with the backgrounding operation.
Well, basically we get calves anywhere. Sometimes, I mean, we get the bigger calves, but most of the time we try and work with the lighter calves. In the fall of the year, we try and get a lot of weaning calves, kind of put them in a pen, feed them, get them straightened out, put them on the wheat if it's growing. Kind of grow them, put 200 or 300 pounds. We've got guys that we deal with basically just want to put 200 or 300 pounds on them and then take them and resell them. Okay. A few guys will keep them and retain ownership and take them onto the feedlot and fatten them. But for the most part, what we're doing is just kind of in the middle between the cow-calf man and the feedlot, putting some weight on them. So
a lot of these calves, when you're getting the lightweight, I'm assuming that they're some put together.
Yeah, a lot of times we're getting out of Missouri and southern cattle, put together. Sometimes we'll get a good group, but mainly just put together.
Okay, so now when these cattle come in, what are some of your bigger challenges coming in off the truck?
Well, I think just like anything, I mean, the lighter the calf, the more apt to have problems you're going to have. I guess, what we try and do is get them through and get them vaccinated, determine whether they're a high risk, whether they need antibiotics right off the bat, or we can just kind of pick at them and go along that way. It's
one of those things. It's kind of hard to predict, and you got to go a lot on history of the cattle that you've had.
Right, and for what we're dealing with and put together cattle, we don't have a lot of history, so it's just kind of. You just have to pretty much focus on how they go to eating, how they look coming off the truck, and what they're going to do at that point.
Sounds like a winner. Well, we're going to have to take a break. We go to commercial, but when we come back, we're going to continue talking with Scott Temple outside of Great Bend, Kansas. You're watching That's My Farm, and we're sure glad that you joined us.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We're having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Hi there, folks. Welcome back to Circle K Farms outside of Great Bend, Kansas. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. I'm joined today by Scott Temple, and we're talking about background in cattle here at Circle K, which Scott tends to a couple thousand head of these calves out here in this starter yard. So when these calves are coming in, and we're going to run them through the processing barn, and that's kind of the welcome sign coming into place for these calves. What are some of the things that you stress when you're moving them or working with these cattle?
Oh, I think that, we talked earlier, the low stress cattle handling.
Yep.
I think that's important. I think getting the cattle off the truck, getting them pinned, getting them fresh water, fresh hay, letting them rest a little bit. And then it just kind of depends on the stress of the cattle, whether it's 24 hours or 48 hours. We try and get them back up, handle them as good as we can. I like to use dogs. Cattle, I can go out here and sometimes they'll kind of scatter on me, and a dog just kind of holds them together. They'll ease out the pen, ease up the alley, and then we just get them up here and try and handle them the best we can.
So when you're exercising cattle, and I think that people, when they hear the term exercise, we even had people that have gone out and thought we were jogging animals, but really it's an exercise in going out of the pen.
Yeah.
And responding to your commands, we mean the cattle. And so you're training the cattle, so it's an exercise in how to respond to what you want them to do.
Yeah, I think it's very handy, especially if you get a fresh weaned calf, and he doesn't know how to drive away from you, and he's herd bound and he's sick, and you start easing him to the gate. The first thing he wants to do is go back to his buddies. He doesn't understand there's a gate down there. Well, if you go in there for the first 3 days and you walk these cattle out the gate, just let them turn around and trot back in the pen, they're comfortable with it. When you go to ease that sick one out, he knows where that gate's at, and as soon as you scoot him away, he'll walk right out that gate, and you won't have to chase him around and have any problems with him. He'll walk right out the gate. He knows the routine. He'll walk up here, go through the chute, and you can put him right back in, and you don't have to hi-yi and run around and stress him more before you get your antibiotics in him.
And it's amazing, we spend so much time talking about which antibiotic or which vaccine we're going to use. I think this might be better than anything we have on the end of a needle.
Exactly, I agree.
Well, we're going to take another break. Folks, we're visiting with Mr. Scott Temple outside of Great Bend, Kansas at Circle K Farms. Thanks for joining us this morning on That's My Farm. We'll be back after the break.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine. Knowledge and service for the future of animal production.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hello, I'm Dr. Chris Blevins at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. And the horse tip for today is going to be how to take the parameters of your horse and what things you need involved with that. Two most important things that you need for examination of your horse is a stethoscope and a thermometer. The thermometers you can get anywhere at any store, and I'd always advise you to get the fastest ones that read out in 10 seconds so you don't have to get the temperature for very long. Remember, when you're taking the temperature of your horse, it is rectally, so you have to lift up the tail and get a temperature in that area that's the most accurate. Usually you want the horse's temperature to be around 98 to 101, fairly wide range, but you should do it while they're healthy so you kind of know the normal aspect. Heart rate should be around the 40 beats per minute. Talk to your vet if you ever have any questions, and that's the horse tip of the day.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We're having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
National Bank Ag Professional. You'll be in good company. They'll help you track expense lines, manage variable input costs, assess ground agreements, pick a crop protection plan. These times demand ag professionals. Central National Bank. You could profit from what they know. Ag operations run better on Central Time.
Central National Bank. Money for life.
Member FDIC in your hometown since 1884.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from Doc Talk. If you miss us on Monday morning, you can join us at 6:30 a.m. every Sunday morning on RFD TV. Doc Talk has a national following. We're sure glad that you joined us on Mondays, but if you miss us and you want to catch us out on a Sunday morning, get up at 6:30 a.m. and we'll be right there, RFD TV, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll see you down the road.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Hi there folks, welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson here with Scott Temple outside of Great Bend, Kansas on a blustery, windy day, but at least we got some warm weather and we're hoping for some rain. We've been talking about high-risk calves and talking about bringing them into a backgrounding operation. And you know, you've been in larger feed yards and now with the grow yard, and you know, there's a difference in your ability to spend time with the individual calf. There really is a place for these stock or backgrounder operations. What are some of the tools or some of the things that you're using to help identify sick calves?
Well, here in this type of situation, I can be there when every calf gets dropped some feed, you know, and better identify the ones that just aren't coming to the bunk as fast, so that, you know, you can kind of write a number down and maybe look at that calf. He may not be showing all the clinical signs of being sick, but I can catch him a day early if I know he's not going to feed right away.
Yep.
So, I mean, as that, you're here, you know, in a smaller yard, you can do that, you know, and spend more time like we talked, spend a lot more time in the pens with them. You know, I'm not rushed to get around, you know.
And I talk to people a lot of times that, you know, we're pulling sick instead of ugly.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we pull those ugly calves because they look bad, but they're not sick.
Yeah, and here you can see, I mean, that ugly calf's up the bunk pushing everybody away. You know, you're not as apt to pull him as you are when you just see him standing out there by himself.
And I'm a big prescriber of riding those cattle behind the feed being dropped and being able to go in and scoop some of those calves that are holding back in the back of the pen. Even if they aren't sick, there's something going on.
For some reason, they're not up there at the bunk, and you can bring them up here, you know, and just the exercise of stimulating them, get them around up here, After I doctor, they've always got the opportunity to eat a little hay, to get a little different stimulation, and get them back to the pen.
Yep, and being able to treat them at a point in time at the beginning of the process, the disease process. Nothing's probably more sensitive to a calf being sick than when they quit eating.
Right, and you know, sometimes they'll quit before they start showing signs.
Absolutely.
And you can be there to get that medicine into them and make it, you know, a little, you know, make it work better, you know, make it more efficient, because you've got it to them when they needed it instead of after they needed it.
Yeah, when they're gant, which is one of the biggest clinical signs, you know they've been off feed for a few days.
Right.
And if you're riding behind them when they're not eating and looking at them, it just speeds up the process. What are some of the other clinical signs that you look for in these calves when you're riding them?
Just the depression, you know, a calf will cough, the way he carries his head, the kind of cough, you know, because all these calves will have a little cough, especially on a day like today when the wind's blowing everything around. So you just got to kind of determine what kind of cough it is. The calf, just the depression and the hair coat even. Once you kind of, what I look for more or less is I look at healthy cattle, and then when you see one that isn't healthy, he kind of just stands out. It's easier, if you go looking for sick cattle, you can about make all of them look a little sick. But if you're looking at healthy cattle and they all look good, when one doesn't look good, you'll really notice him.
Yep, and I think that's, you know, even in vet school, that's how we teach all the different subjects. If you don't know what normal is,
yeah, exactly,
you don't know what abnormal is. And
exactly.
So looking at them through the eyes of what they normally look like, and you can say, well, that one's not doing right.
Yeah, and it's just spending time with them and knowing just exactly what they're doing. You know, this set of calves over here, they may look a little depressed all the time. You know, that may be their normal. And this calf over here, these cattle over here, their normal is going to be a little different. And being able to judge the difference and, you know, what you can do with them.
It's great. We're going to take a break, folks. When we come back, more Scott Temple outside of Great Bend, Kansas.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hey folks, it's Dr. Dan from Doc Talk and Ag AM in Kansas, and that's my farm. Be sure to stop in and join us at the Kansas State Fair. We're going to be down there, we're going to be walking around, we're going to be in the birthing center. Join us, come say hi, we can't wait to see you. Folks, I'm so proud to be a part of the beef industry and the many things that we and cattle producers get done, whether it's looking at cow-calf operations, stocker and backgrounder operations, or things that we do here in commercial cattle feeding operations. We really do produce a safe, wholesome, affordable product for consumers, and it goes from a lot of people who care a lot about the cattle that they raise, and they care about the customer that they're serving and the consumer. And when we look at programs such as beef quality assurance, progressive beef, things that are tied into providing a product on the table, it gets down to being able to execute it at the ground level. And we have so many people that care. We're very thankful for the opportunity that the industries here in Kansas allow us to come into their operations, provide some transparency, and show you what all goes into providing the meat and eggs that are on your dinner table. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to everybody in Kansas agriculture for everything that they do.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Folks, welcome back to That's My Farm, and we're having a great visit. And Scott, folks, this is Mr. Scott Temple, Great Bend, Kansas, and we're at Circle K Farms. And Scott, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend with us and share things with our viewers.
Not a problem. I appreciate you coming and giving me the chance.
Well, and it's always been good. We've known each other for a long time, worked on different projects,
Right.
and always appreciate everything you do for K-State and for all of us in the beef industry. And stocker operations, are important, and stocker and backgrounder operations. And like I said, you've been on both sides of this deal, as far as receiving cattle from operations and now producing the cattle to go to the feed yards. And what are some of the things that, when you think about stocker backgrounder operations and their importance, what are some of the things that you kind of think about?
Well, I mean, you're basically setting the calf up for the rest of his life in the feeding industry. So if you can get a good stocker and they come right off the cow and they come to a good stocker, you get the health issues straightened out, you get their handling issues straightened out. When they go to the feedlot, then you shouldn't have any issues. They should just go on feed. You won't have as many cattle that get sick. All of them are going to get sick. There's a chance, but you're going to have less cattle get sick. They're going to handle better if they've been handled right, because they've been through the chute. They know all of it, and so they're going to go on and perform better in the feedlot.
It's basically like going to middle school before you go to high school.
Exactly, and and you're gonna spend less time at the feedlot with the health issues, less time processing if they're handled right, and a good stocker can eliminate a lot of the problems out on the finish end of it.
Well, and I think it's vitally important that we talk about a lot of different issues, whether it's animal welfare and judicious use of antibiotics and food safety. Having the animal properly cared for in a stocker backgrounder operation just makes that animal more of a product that we want to produce for our consumer.
Exactly.
Coming out of the feed yard.
Exactly.
We don't want to get into some of these chronic issues and things that
and you can eliminate a lot of that in the beginning if you handle them right from the start.
Do you guys work with any of the producers, or have you ever had any direct bought cattle or things to that nature?
We get a few locals, but no, we haven't. And I've been here about 2 years, and we're just kind of trying to get this kind of up and going. And so we're not as busy as what we'd like to be at this point. But it's just with the market, you just got to kind of go with what's coming.
They aren't cheap, are they?
Yeah, exactly.
And
that makes it all that much more important to do it right from the beginning.
Absolutely. Well, and when we're talking about these calves coming in with a $1,000 bill on each one of them, it can be something else.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate you joining us today and spend some time with us and letting us take part of your day.
Not a problem.
Folks, thanks for joining us today on That's My Farm, and I hope you enjoyed our visit, and extend a big thanks to Mr. Scott Temple here at Circle K Farms. If you want to know more about That's My Farm or see the archived episodes, you can go to our website at www.agaminkansas.com. You've been watching That's My Farm. I'm sure glad you joined us. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.